What do you think, looking back on that season, so last season, was one of the biggest misconceptions of the Indiana Fever? Like, maybe it was like locker room stuff. I feel like early on,
oh my
like,
gosh, there was so much locker room talk, and
everybody I talked to were like, we vibe, we're good.
I was like, what are we talking about? Like, it's so easy for people to just make all these assumptions. Some people are like, oh my gosh, her body language, she was not happy. She hates this entire squad.
Aliyah Boston just silenced Sheryl Swoopes with one interview. For months, Swoopes fueled rumors that Caitlin Clark wasn't fitting in with the Indiana Fever, pointing at her body language, locker room tension, and supposed chemistry issues.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't want to be here. This is where I want to be.
Yeah. Now listen,
what
you said
there's a lot of
play more.
What kind of things do you say? I'm not in the locker room. Okay. I'm talking about more social media.
Okay.
But now, Boston has fired back. On Sue Bird's Bird's Eye View podcast, she didn't hold back. The way she defended Clark has fans calling it the ultimate mic drop moment.
I've always been someone that likes to prove people wrong. And like, if you say something, I will literally go out of my way to make sure you know that you're incorrect.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't help it.
But what exactly did Boston say that exposed the truth? Let's rewind. This isn't the first time Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark crossed paths. In fact, their history goes back to college, to one of the most unforgettable Final Four matchups in recent memory. Clark dropped a brutal 40 points on South Carolina, and Boston was on the receiving end. And in the interview, she admitted she had to bring it up once they became teammates.
I was like, I forgot, we were like doing something. We had something. I was like, hey, I just want to say, I'm like really upset that you like did what you did in that Final Four game. I was like, I feel like I just need to get it off my chest because like we are teammates, but I'm like, you didn't have to do all that. Like, you did not have to go for 40 on our dome. Like, girl, we could have just had fun.
Yeah,
but after that, it was like cool because obviously now we're on the same team, so you don't worry about that. But I always thought it was funny because I'm like, we just went from competing against each other, you beating us, and now we're on the same team. It's like, I was like, girl, it's okay, I get it. I'm not mad at you for real, but I am. Because like, why would you do that?
Boston told Clark straight up, you didn't have to do all that. She laughed, but it was real. That 40-point performance stuck. Yet instead of bitterness, it turned into respect. Boston explained that once they were on the same team, it instantly flipped from rivals to partners.
Did the thing, made the joke, moved on. That's really what it is.
And then you kind of just move on. You're like, listen, we're on the same team now, so let's whoop some butt. Let's 100%. Do it.
She didn't hold a grudge. She embraced the challenge of now being on Clark's side. That respect grew fast. Boston described how their on-court chemistry works. She literally watches Clark's eyes during a pick and roll. No words needed. If Clark looks one way, Boston already knows where to roll, cut, or seal. She called Clark a phenomenal passer with angles and vision that make her job easier.
She sees the floor, I think is great. And then for me, it's always like, I'm always going to get in her pocket because I know that she's looking to pass that ball and she wants to get us in the best position. And so for me, it's like, okay, well, I'm looking at your eyes. So once I see your eyes, I'm there. You don't have to say anything, I'm going.
And I hear you that it takes time, but like, what do you think it is about each of your games that works well? Like, mostly in the pick and roll. We'll talk pick and roll.
I think honestly, one, like Caitlin, the attention she gets, right? Like teams are like up. Like if they're under and dropped, that shot's going up. Because I'm gonna set a good screen, that shot's going up and she's getting it. And then it's like, okay, well, now I'm gonna step up. And she's just a phenomenal passer. Like her angles, like she knows exactly where to get it.
Together, they've become one of the most electric duos in the league. And that's not just hype. That's trust.
Quote unquote, Caitlin Clark effect is definitely real. I think we all feel it in our unique ways.
100%.
Yeah. How did you experience it? Like, I know early on you talked about logging off social media. Like, what did you just learn in that period of time? And by the way, the social media aspect is not Caitlin's fault.
No.
So it's like, but what did you learn just like in that period of time?
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves Caitlin. They love watching Caitlin. Yeah. And so I think that just brings so much eyes. And I think for our league, that's great. Like, that is great for us. You have so many people coming in, they're watching. Like I always say, like, they might come in for Caitlin and they leave and they're like, dang, this girl's a hooper too.
Yeah.
Oh, I like her. Like,
you're seeing it
hear
in
so many people say it. You hear,
viewership.
like, everyone says it, and I think you just kind of embrace that.
But here's where the tension comes in. While Boston and Clark were quietly building a connection, outsiders painted a different story. The internet ran wild with speculation. Clark's teammates don't like her. Clark doesn't fit in. Look at her body language. Look at the locker room drama. Boston's response? She laughed. Literally.
You want to play more. What kind of things do you say?
I'm not in the locker room.
Okay. Okay. But
I'm talking about more social media.
Okay.
It's a turn. Right? It's a turn, right? It's really a turn of the tides.
Well,
right?
Gil, here's my point. The beginning of the year, right? Everybody saw it.
She revealed that one time she woke up from a nap before a game, checked social media, and saw rumors saying the Fever locker room hated each other. She walked into the actual locker room and said, "Girl, you good?" Her teammates laughed it off. No drama, no hate, just outsiders spinning stories.
Oh my gosh, there was so much locker room talk, and
everybody I talked to were like, we vibe, we're good.
I was like, what are we talking about? Like, it's so easy for people to just make all these assumptions. Some people are like, oh my gosh, her body language, she was not happy. She hates this entire squad. I don't know. Sometimes when you have a bad game personally, that takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
It's not 100%. That you don't like the team. It's not you, but that takes a toll on you. Every single night we come out, we want to play good. And so like all the time there were locker room talks. I forgot what was the conversation one time. I woke up from my nap, getting ready to go to pregame. People are like, oh, they hate each other. They hate each other. We walked in the locker room. We're like, girl, you good?
Yeah.
I'm like, I just woke up. I couldn't tell you what's happening right now, but all I know is we about to hoop. At 7 p.m., we got a game.
That's where Boston delivered her biggest shot at Sheryl Swoopes. Remember, Swoopes was one of the loudest voices suggesting Caitlin Clark's presence caused issues. She hinted at tension, body language problems, and divided chemistry. But Boston crushed that narrative. She made it clear the Fever weren't fractured, they were focused. They were professionals who cared about one thing: winning.
When people get into this whole talking about what they think our locker room is like and what they think, I'm like, first of all, you're not in here.
No.
So you have no idea. And also, we're professionals. So if we want you to see something, you'll happily see it. If we don't, I guarantee you, you would never know there's a single problem. Why? Because that's none of your business, and we have more priorities, and that's winning.
And then came Caitlin's injury. Losing Clark could have broken this team. She was the centerpiece of the offense, the attention magnet, the player who elevated the spotlight. But instead of collapsing, Boston revealed how the Fever locked into a next woman up mentality.
It's definitely been a struggle, but I think just at the start of the season too, like, you know, you have your start of the season meetings and you're talking, and for us it was about, listen, like no matter what happens in the season, it's next woman up. And you have to be ready. And I feel like obviously struggling with injuries, and then, you know, you sign people and then they leave, and it's like, listen, like whoever is next, be ready to play, because it doesn't matter. Like the games still keep coming. Like you still have to be ready to compete.
She explained how different the game feels with Clark on and off the floor. With Clark, the pace is lightning fast. The ball whips around, defenses are stretched. Without her, the game slows down, shifting to half-court execution. But rather than framing it as a setback, Boston spun it as versatility.
Like when C is on the floor, I'm like, listen, be ready to run. Be ready to get out. Be ready because she's looking. She's looking.
Going.
She wants to play fast. Super early in the offense, and like we do that too as well here. But I think sometimes too now without her, like we can get into like a little more half court execution, make the defenses work a little bit harder, first side, second side, third side, and then I think when you have like Kelsey, when Kelsey's playing in transition, get that ball up to her and make her
I've never seen anybody so bouncy.
Like she is unbelievable.
I'm
and then
like,
when you
in
put
those
her
shoes?
In screens, it's like, what do you do?
Bouncing all over.
She is moving. She's making the right read. And it's like, listen, and she's scoring the ball at a very high level.
The Fever were learning how to adapt, and in her words, that made them scarier in the long run.
Caitlin, right? And everybody's like, oh, like they're gonna be this, and this, and now everybody's like, oh, you know what? We're gonna prove you wrong. Like, hell no, like that's how it is. And then this year too, obviously we go in the free agency, and everybody's like, yeah, like they got. For us, we always think like you have to approach every season with like we're winning this whole season. So that was our mindset. And I think when you look at expectations, once again, expectations come from everyone outside, because like in our circle, we know exactly what we want to do. We also understand that it's a process. We understand that new faces, new coaches, like different style play for people joining us. It's like people need time to figure it out once again. But when you do figure it out, it's going to be scary.
Still, Boston admitted the emotional toll was real. Seeing Clark go down hurt, not just because of what Clark brings to the floor, but because of who she is. A fighter, a competitor, someone who gives everything. That injury tested them, but it also fueled them. And here's where Boston's leadership shined. She pointed to the veterans, Natasha Howard, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, and Sydney Colson. As the glue that held the locker room together, Boston shared how Colson, often known for her comedy, became the quiet leader who knew exactly when to speak, what to say, and how to keep everyone steady.
Has having more vets on the team, because that's a little different from your first 2 years.
Yeah, no, seriously, I think it's been great. Seriously, it's been a blessing for me. It was crazy. We were just talking to Sid about this on the plane ride over here, and I was like, listen, like, it's great to have you guys because, like, we're young players, and like sometimes we still have that mindset of like, oh my gosh, I need to be perfect, like I need to. And having vets like Tosh and Sid, like honestly, like I know everyone thinks Sid like the comedic person, like so funny, but I think getting to know Sid and who she is, she's like the best person for any locker room and for our locker room.
Through all the chaos, the Fever didn't splinter, they grew stronger. Now let's take this to the peak. Sheryl Swoopes once claimed Clark's arrival disrupted the Fever. She hinted that Boston and others weren't happy with her presence. But Aliyah Boston just destroyed that narrative. Not only did she defend Clark, she flipped the criticism back on its head. Boston called Clark a positive force, someone who brings fans into the arena, someone who makes people say, dang, this girl's a hooper too.
Everyone loves Caitlin. They love watching Caitlin. And so I think that just brings so much eyes. And I think for our league, that's great. Like that is great for us. You have so many people coming in, they're watching. Like I always say, like they might come in for Caitlin and they leave and they're like, dang, this girl's a hooper too.
Yeah.
Oh, I like her. Like
She credited Clark for elevating the league, even if it meant extra pressure. She didn't resent it. She embraced it. And in doing so, she sent the strongest message yet. Sheryl Swoopes was wrong. Dead wrong.
I hate when people get into this whole talking about what they think our locker room is like and what they think. I'm like, first of all, you're not in here.
No.
So you have no idea. And also, we're professionals. So if we want you to see something, you'll happily see it. If we don't, I guarantee you, you would never know there's a single problem. Why? Because that's none of your business, and we have more priorities, and that's winning.
100% agree.
Boston's words didn't just offend Clark, they exposed how far off the critics really were. There was no toxic locker room, no resentment, just a young team fighting through adversity, battling injuries, and proving they could thrive under the spotlight. Think about the timing, too. The Fever clawed their way into the playoffs despite setbacks. Every game has been a dogfight, yet Boston has been the anchor. She's balanced leadership, chemistry, and toughness in a way that silences doubters. This is the ultimate irony. While Swoopes tried to tear Clark down, Boston turned her defense into fuel for Indiana's rise. And make no mistake, this isn't just about words. Boston's actions back it up on the floor. She's proving, alongside Clark, that the Fever aren't just relevant, they're dangerous. So here's the takeaway. Aliyah Boston didn't just stand up for Caitlin Clark. She stood up for the Fever, for the truth, and for the future of women's basketball. And in doing so, she delivered the ultimate clapback to Sheryl Swoopes. So what do you think? Did Aliyah Boston just put Sheryl Swoopes in her place? If you're still watching, drop bye Swoopes in the comments. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next in this epic Fever story.
And it looked like some footage has been released from last night's matchup showing the Indiana Fever did not have that favorable whistle. Now I'm here to tell you, it's looking a little spooky for the WNBA referees, because we did have that damn whistle for a couple games. Now, I don't know what happened yesterday, but it looked like A'ja Wilson got to do whatever the hell she wanted to do.
A'ja Wilson just left Lexi Hull sprawled on the hardwood, and fans say the WNBA finally crossed the line. This wasn't basketball. It was a brawl disguised as defense.
Indiana Fever fans, last night we took a tough loss, but it was honestly about exactly what you would think would happen. First off, number 23, Jeff Wooten. I'm starting to know these refs now just by looking at them. So the more I do this, the more I know how the game is going to be called before the tip-off.
And while Hull played through a back injury, Wilson was celebrated as dominant. But if you think this story ends there, think again. Because the Fever didn't just back down. They fought through chaos, controversy, and whistles that seemed determined to break them.
I mean, it feels like a physical game every game. Feels like it's been a physical season. But yes, I think, I feel like I've been on the ground a little bit more this series so far. We just keep getting back up, so that's all you can really say.
So here's the question everyone's asking. How did Wilson get praised for greatness while Lexi Hull risked her health? And what does this mean now that the series shifts to Indiana? To understand the chaos of Game 2, you need to go back to Game 1.
We are in Las Vegas, Nevada, Game 1 of the best-of-5 semifinal series between Las Vegas and the Indiana Fever.
Indiana walked into Las Vegas facing the two-time defending champions and did the unthinkable. Kelsey Mitchell dropped a playoff career-high 34 points, silencing every doubt about whether this young Fever team was ready for the moment.
Off Mitchell, rise and fire. Good! Kelsey connects. Time out, Becky Hammond. Mitchell, MVP finalist. Uncorks and puts it in.
Aces star Asia Wilson, the MVP, couldn't find rhythm. She went just 6 for 22 from the field, frustrated and smothered by Indiana's defense. The Fever controlled the pace, executed with discipline, and left the floor with a 16-point blowout win.
Mitchell teardrops one in.
As Wilson on her gets fire and lays it in left side.
Sims, they gave her just that space and she took it.
Sims at the foul line, lets it fly again and hits it again.
Honestly, Sims is feeling it.
That humiliation lit a fire under Las Vegas. And in Game 2, they weren't just determined to win, they were determined to send a message. But the question is, at what cost? Because Game 2 didn't feel like basketball. It felt like a brawl.
We did notice, for whatever reason, they was flopping hard yesterday, boy. I mean, they was flopping. It's almost like, it's almost like the Aces knew that they was going to get them calls yesterday. Let me know if I'm tripping, because I don't think I'm tripping, man. I think the Aces knew that the whistle was going to go their way yesterday. Had to have known, bro. I mean, they just had to have known, because there's no way in hell they was able to do what they could do and legally get away with it, dog. I just got to be honest.
From the opening tip, whistles echoed across the arena. By the end, there were 41 fouls, with 16 in just the third quarter alone.
But last night was a perfect example why the Indiana Fever need Caitlin Clark desperately. But this game came down to the first 2 quarters, just horrible refereeing. And then by the time the third quarter started, we're down by about 10. We cut it to within 8. But then the refs called foul after foul after foul after foul. When you have a foul 5 possessions in a row, there was no way we could come back or build any type of rhythm. And we did have a lot of turnovers. We were not shooting the ball. I'm not trying to say.
Every time the Fever tried to build momentum, the game stopped. Every time Indiana found a rhythm, the officials chopped it into pieces. Head coach Stephanie White admitted it herself. It's hard for us to find flow when there's a foul called every 10 seconds. They were aggressive, but we never got that same whistle on the other end.
How don't you think you were able to find any flow? And when that was the case, what are you trying to do to jumpstart things, maybe on the defense?
Well, it's hard for us to find flow when there's a foul call every 10 seconds. I mean, it just really is. And when they're at the free throw line, we can't get up and down the floor. And that's a challenge. They were much more aggressive and physical defensively. We didn't counter that with our off-ball actions or with our back cuts. So they took us out of our comfort zone. I mean, offense is about rhythm, it's about timing, it's about spacing. We allowed them to do that, and they kept us from doing it.
The numbers told the story. Vegas piled up free throws, Indiana got dragged into half-court sets, and the referees looked like they were calling 2 different games depending on which jersey you wore. The worst part, Lexi Hull should never have even been out there. She injured her back in Game 1 and was listed as a game-time decision. Most players would have sat out, but Hull taped herself up, took the floor, and instantly became the target of Vegas's physicality. Asia Wilson locked in on her, delivering hit after hit. Screens were set late, arms locked up, bodies thrown to the ground. And Hull, she just kept getting back up, somehow. Through all the pain, she drilled 5 three-pointers, tying a Fever playoff record. Every make wasn't just points, it was defiance. After the game, she admitted, "I'm feeling sore still, but I just tried to push through. A lot of treatment, a lot of trust in our trainers. That's the playoffs."
Yeah, Lexi Lexi, obviously you were a late add to the injury report today. Just how are you feeling this morning with your back, and what do you have to do to be able to play? I mean, I'm feeling sore still, but I think just a lot of treatment, trying to get, our bodies as ready as we can be. Part of playoffs, I think, for everyone is the end of the season. Everyone's a little fatigued, everyone's a little sore. So just trying to go out there and do the best I can. A lot of treatment with our trainers. I'm really thankful for them to spend a lot of time with me today, a lot of time with me yesterday, getting me ready for tonight. But it'll be a good rest day tomorrow. But I think that's, for everyone. We're just pushing through.
That's not just grit, that's survival basketball. But here's what made fans furious. While Hull was bruised and taped together, the headlines focused on A'ja Wilson's stats. She put up 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, and 2 blocks. The media called it a dominant performance. But was it dominance, or was it something else? Because look closer. Wilson bulldozed her way into the paint, threw elbows, benefited from whistles that Indiana never got on the other end. Fans watching online called it out. This isn't skill, this is bullying. Yet the national conversation painted her as the hero. And even more ironic, Becky Hammon, Vegas's own coach, admitted afterward that the game's physicality was out of control. That's right, the team that benefited most from the chaos still complained about it.
The scores of these games, I don't think really are reflecting how intense they feel. I'm wondering if to you that's maybe because of the physicality, or why do you think that is?
The physicality is out of control, that's for sure. I mean, you can bump and grab a wide receiver in the NFL for those first 5 yards, but you can do it in the W for the whole half court. You put 2 hands on somebody like that, it should be an automatic foul. They have the freedom of movement. There's no freedom. And I'm not saying that we're not fouling too. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's out of control.
But don't let that distract you from what the rest of the Fever did. Aliyah Boston looked like she was fighting through a football game, not a playoff matchup. She battled her way to 10 points and 13 rebounds, but every board came with a hit to the ribs or a shove in the back. She's only in her 3rd season, but she's already carrying herself like a veteran who refuses to quit. Then there was Odyssey Sims, 18 points while dribbling through double teams, getting hacked on the arms, and watching whistles erase any flow she found. Her frustration was visible, but her determination never cracked. Every time Vegas delivered a punch, Sims answered with a bucket. And yet, no matter what Indiana did, momentum was impossible to hold. 4 fouls in a row turned an 8-point deficit into 13 in a matter of seconds. Players flying, fans groaning, the whistle echoing. It wasn't basketball, it was chaos dressed up as playoff intensity. Through it all, one image defined the night. Lexi Hull, taped up, grimacing, and still burying threes, as if daring the Aces to knock her down again. She tied a Fever playoff record while playing on a bad back. And still, the story wasn't about her. It was about Wilson's box score. But fans saw what really happened. They saw Hull's toughness. They saw Aliyah Boston fighting like a linebacker in the paint. They saw Odyssey Sims keep attacking when every whistle went against her. And they saw referees tilt the game into something that looked less like sport and more like survival. Vegas may have won the battle, but they didn't break Indiana's spirit. And now the series shifts. The Aces won't have the comfort of home or whistles echoing through their arena. They'll walk into Gainbridge Fieldhouse, where 17,000 Fever fans are ready to turn every foul, every shove, every questionable whistle into a roar the officials can't ignore. Even Becky Hammon admitted it. Our experience there has not been great this season.
This series going to Indianapolis, is there like a level of concern about that maybe escalating, or how do you feel just about the referees' ability to keep that under?
Well, most of my assistants come from the NBA, and they're like, this would not fly in the NBA. This level of physicality would not fly in the NBA. There'd be fights. There'd be fights. We just have very well-mannered women that can get to the next play. But there would be fights.
And she's right. Gainbridge has been a graveyard for opponents. It's where energy doesn't fade, where runs never die, and where officials can't hide from the crowd's reaction. Lexi Hull said it best. Our fans, they show up and they show out. That's the X factor now. The same team that nearly stole Game 2 in Vegas will finally have thousands of voices amplifying every bucket from Caitlin Clark, every rebound from Boston, every shot Hull takes on her sore back. The Aces may have used whistles and brute force to steal Game 2, but Indianapolis is waiting. And what happens when a team that's been beaten down finally comes home? So here's the truth. A'ja Wilson wasn't exposed because she scored 25 points. She was exposed because it took chaos, controversy, and an injured opponent to get there. And the Fever? They're still standing. The war isn't over. It's just moving to Indiana. If you're still watching, drop Let's Go Lexi in the comments to show your support. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more Fever updates, and hit the bell so you never miss what happens next in this explosive series.
Matchup, Aces Fever, Game 1. We're not deciding the whole series right now, just Game 1. I think...
Should we do it together?
I think we should do it together.
Okay.
Because my spidey sense are telling me they might be the same. 3, 2, 1.
Aces.
They're not going to lose after she just won MVP.
Yeah, period.
There's no... Yeah,
no way.
Okay, I see.
The unthinkable just happened. On the very night A'ja Wilson was crowned MVP in front of her home crowd, she turned the spotlight upside down, not with her performance, but with a jaw-dropping accusation. After the Las Vegas Aces collapsed against the Indiana Fever in Game 1 of the semifinals, Wilson didn't hold back. Her words, "This game was bought."
Well, one thing is very clear about the sports world. Man, sports fans overwhelmingly, for whatever reason, and my guess would be quite a few reasons, the sports world literally cannot stand A'ja Wilson. A'ja Wilson has won yet another MVP, and sports fans have done a Dikembe Mutombo no in regards to giving a rat's ass.
That's right. The face of the WNBA, the reigning MVP, accused referees of rigging the outcome. And in doing so, she ignited one of the biggest scandals this league has ever seen.
Money Mitch, put him in a ditch. Who on the Las Vegas Aces is going to try to stop Kelsey Mitchell? Because from what I just saw, they had no answer for her. Kirsten Bell, line right up, smacked. Jackie Young, step right up, torched. Chelsea Gray, torched. Jewel Lloyd, torched. Nobody could hang with Kelsey Mitchell as she goes off.
But here's the question. Was this just raw frustration from being shut down? Or is Wilson hinting at something much darker about how this league is run? Stick around, because what you're about to hear will leave you questioning everything about the WNBA's credibility. Let's set the scene. The Indiana Fever were never supposed to be here. They rolled into Vegas, missing 6 players. Caitlin Clark sidelined, Sophie Cunningham out, Sydney Colson gone, Ari McDonald, Chloe Beebe, and Dawana Dantas all unavailable. Analysts laughed at their chances.
Matchup, Aces Fever, Game 1. We're not deciding the whole series right now, just Game 1. I think...
Should we do it together?
I think we should do it together.
Okay.
Because my spidey sense are telling me they might be the same. 3, 2, 1.
Aces.
They're not going to lose after she just won MVP.
Yeah, period.
There's no... Yeah,
no way.
Okay,
ESPN panels wrote them off before the ball even tipped. The sportsbooks, they practically begged people to bet on the Aces, expecting a clean sweep. And yet, against every odd stacked against them, the Fever stormed into Las Vegas and stunned the defending champions, 89-73.
And A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces lose Game 1 on their home court to the Indiana Fever, 89-73. The Indiana Fever were in control of this game from start to finish. There was a small little patch there in the third quarter. We started saying, are the Aces gonna come back? But Kelsey Mitchell and Odyssey Sims said no.
This was supposed to be A'ja Wilson's coronation night, championship banners hanging in the rafters, the crowd buzzing, cameras flashing as she lifted the MVP trophy. Everything pointed to Vegas dominating, but instead, the story flipped in real time. Kelsey Mitchell, a player constantly overlooked in league-wide conversations, erupted for 34 points, the highest scoring output in a Fever playoff game since 2012.
Off Mitchell, rise and fire. Good! Kelsey connects. Timeout, Becky Hammond. Mitchell, MVP finalist. Uncorks and puts it in.
She did it efficiently, relentlessly, and in every way possible. Mid-range daggers, deep threes, attacking the rim, and a flawless 6 for 6 at the free throw line. Caitlin Clark, watching injured from the sidelines, said it best with 2 simple words that went viral. Kelsey, unreal. And it wasn't just Mitchell. Aliyah Boston went to war with Wilson in the paint, making the MVP grind for every single bucket. Lexi Hull turned Jackie Young into a non-factor. Odyssey Sims attacked like her career depended on it. Natasha Howard crashed the boards with fury. The Fever flipped the script in every single category they weren't supposed to win. By the time the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard told a shocking story. Fever 89, Aces 73. Indiana didn't just steal Game 1, they humiliated Vegas on their own floor.
The Indiana Fever won every single quarter in this game except for the first 3 straight quarters of scoring 20 points or more, holding the Aces to under 20 points in 4 straight quarters. The third quarter, 28 points for the Indiana Fever. It was a 3-point game. The Aces were down 9, came back in the third quarter. 3-point game. The Indiana Fever closed it out, putting our pedal to the metal, foot on the gas, extending our lead to a point where Bree Hall, yes, Bree Hall got a minute in this game.
And that's when A'ja Wilson snapped. In her post-game remarks, Wilson didn't credit the Fever. She didn't take accountability. Instead, she looked directly at the cameras and accused the referees of fixing the outcome. Her words were sharp, angry, and unforgettable. This game was bought. Think about that for a second. The league's biggest star, the reigning MVP, essentially told the world that the WNBA semifinals are rigged. And here's why it matters. The WNBA is already under a microscope. Critics constantly claim it's propped up, struggling for credibility, fighting for respect on the national stage. So when your MVP accuses referees of corruption, that doesn't just sting. It detonates a bomb inside the league's image. Fans immediately erupted online. Some defended Wilson, saying the officiating was bizarre and tilted against Vegas. Others slammed her for disrespecting the Fever's effort, arguing she used the refs as a scapegoat for being shut down by Boston's defense. But let's be real, the accusation itself is the headline. When a player of Wilson's stature uses the words, "This game was bought," she's not just venting. She's suggesting the outcome of the semifinals wasn't legitimate, and that cuts right to the core of the league's credibility. So what actually drove Wilson to explode? For one, she was frustrated. Boston's defense forced her into contested shots all night long. She still posted 16 points and 13 rebounds, but it wasn't the effortless dominance everyone expected from an MVP. Every bucket was a battle, every rebound a grind. The rhythm she thrives on just wasn't there. And while Mitchell was torching Vegas from everywhere on the floor, Wilson was forced to claw for scraps. That contrast created the perfect storm. The player being celebrated as the league's best was overshadowed by the opponent she was supposed to crush. And instead of walking out with the glory, she walked out pointing fingers. Now here's the real kicker. Wilson's accusation didn't just make headlines, it overshadowed the Fever's monumental upset. What should have been remembered as one of the greatest playoff wins in franchise history suddenly became about referees, corruption, and controversy. Mitchell's masterpiece, Boston's defense, Sims's fire, all of it buried under the weight of Wilson's words. And yet, those words aren't going away. The WNBA is now in a bind. Do they ignore Wilson's claim and hope it blows over? Or do they step in and address it head-on, risking an even bigger scandal? Either way, the damage is done. For a league trying to grow its audience, its MVP accusing referees of rigging the game is a nightmare scenario. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Wilson's frustration could actually fuel the Aces moving forward. Championship teams respond differently to adversity. The Aces know how to make adjustments. And you can bet Game 2 will be personal. Wilson hates being embarrassed. And after being silenced and overshadowed in Game 1, she'll come out swinging. Still, The Fever aren't backing down. They've found their blueprint: defense, pace, and trust in each other. And after proving they can shut down the champions on their own floor, they now head home with momentum and belief. If they win Game 2, this series could tilt completely in their favor. So here's the bottom line. A'ja Wilson may have thought her words were just a post-game vent, but she's ignited a scandal that will follow this series wherever it goes. Did she expose something real, or just let her emotions take over? That's for you to decide. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Wilson right to call out the refs, or did she cross the line by discrediting the Fever's hard-earned win? And if you're still watching, drop rigged or real in the comments so we know you're riding with us to the end. Because one thing's for sure, this series isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about pride, credibility, and the future of the WNBA.